Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and welcome to Saturday's edition of the dceu Daily. Take a listen to this. Kevin Feige reportedly almost left Marvel for DC during MCU Phase 2. A new report claims Kevin Feige seriously considered leaving the MCU during Phase 2 to take over DC due to frustrations with Ike Perlmutter, whoever that is, by Cooper Hood of Screen Rant. Kevin Feige seriously considered leaving the Marvel Cinematic Universe to take over DC during Phase 2 after years of working on and producing Marvel Studios for other studios. Feige was put in charge of Marvel Studios in the mid-2000s to begin developing a new slate of films featuring B-list characters. Thanks to his guidance, Marvel Studios and the MCU have become a staple of Hollywood for the last decade. The MCU movies have earned over $26 billion at the box office worldwide, and the studio's recent expansion to the small screen with Disney Plus has further shown what the shared universe is capable of accomplishing. At the same time that the MCU has flourished, Warner Brothers wanted to recreate this success with their DC Comics characters on the big screen. Man of Steel was meant to help kick off a shared universe, but divisive films, a revolving door of executives, and Zack Snyder's eventual exit led to the DC Extended Universe pivoting its future after Justice League was released. The DC movies have since found their footing. No, they haven't, you're wrong, by going away from directly competing with the heavily connected storytelling Marvel has seemingly mastered under Feige's leadership. And while Feige is now seen as an irreplaceable leader for Marvel Studios moving into Phase 4 and someone who might never leave, that wasn't always the case. More about that after this article. Back during Phase 2, it was no secret that Feige began to grow unhappy due to the oversight of Marvel Entertainment CEO Ike Perlmutter, who was Feige's direct superior. Due to his increasing frustrations with the limitations Perlmutter put on the movies he could make and characters they could use, it seems Feige seriously considered leaving Marvel for DC. This information comes from a recent Puck News report where insider Matthew Belloni revealed the potential move that didn't happen while discussing DC's future with Warner Brothers Discovery. Read Belloni's excerpt below. Now, Belloni used to be part of the Hollywood Reporter. I'm not sure if he still is, but he's working for something called Puck News now. Now, disclaimer, he's been coming out with a lot of hot take information yesterday about DC and Marvel. I don't know what's true or not, but Belloni is actually a very respectable journalist. Zaslav could make another run at Feige, who I'm told talked pretty seriously with Warner's a few years ago, when he was angling to escape the oversight of Marvel's then madman CEO, Ike Perlmutter. Iger and Horn ended up siding with Feige. So that's interesting. Iger and Horn ended up siding with Feige. But let's go back to the beginning of this. Zaslav could make another run at Feige. Now, this is something I predicted. Again, I am a fucking pioneer. I was telling you lot this on this channel and you were going, it will never happen. Never say never in this industry. We'll talk in a moment. DC reaching out to Feige at some point in the past to gauge his interest in leaving Marvel is not surprising. But learning that Feige seriously considered making the move is noteworthy. The conflict between him and Ike Perlmutter has been well documented in the past. That's interesting, because I didn't even know he ever had a superior. He wasn't always the president of Marvel Studios, not at the beginning. It looks like once they got rid of Perlmutter, Kevin Feige became the leader of these studios. As the Marvel CEO did not support Feige's push for movies with females or people of colour as the main heroes. That's ironic. This was driven by Perlmutter's belief they wouldn't sell toys. Ultimately, Feige managed to bypass Perlmutter in 2015 near the tail end of Phase 2 and began reporting directly to Disney's then CEO Bob Iger. This paved the way for Captain Marvel, Black Panther, and plenty of other new franchises to be created in Phase 3. While Disney surely made the right move in keeping Kevin Feige atop the MCU, the potential move would have been a game-changing moment in the entertainment industry. Disney likely would promote Luis D'Esposito to take over Marvel Studios in Feige's absence. Now, maybe that was the case then, and Luis is a great guy, but I think they're now looking at Victoria Alonso to, replace Kevin Feige as the Marvel Studios president. She's Latino, she's a woman, it will be a great look. I think she's making a lot of decisions in terms of Phase 4. No surprise there, considering what's going on with Phase 4. Unless he and other creatives left Marvel for DC too. Meanwhile, Perlmutter's control might have continued to prevent the franchise from diversifying, and Feige's overall MCU plan would be lost right as the lead up to Thanos was beginning. On the opposite side, Feige would have been the one to oversee Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and so forth, which may have worked in DC's favour. Right, let's be clear about this. If Feige was in charge of DC, there would never be a Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice. As much as I love that movie, we know how divisive it was. So if it didn't happen, then, and he was here at DC, well, not in my bedroom, but you know what I mean, DC would be a successful brand right now. So that's that. So let's look at this. Some months ago, I told you that Kevin Feige has been approached by David Zaslav to be the head of a brand new DC Studios. I don't know what his answer was. Many of you said it's impossible, it will never happen. The other half of you in the fandom said we don't want Kevin Feige running DC. Here's the thing, whatever we think about the MCU, it is the most successful entertainment brand in the history of the entertainment industry, in the history of Hollywood. It's not easy to do what Feige's done, to accomplish what Feige's accomplished. You're talking about 20 plus movies in over a decade that all connect to each other. You've got to make sure that the history is right and you don't forget about something. It's got, the connectivity is very, very challenging. He's pulled it off. And we've just heard how much money he's made for Disney and Marvel Studios. He's a big deal. So is it possible right now for him to take over a DC Studios? Absolutely, it is. Victoria Alonso, I believe, is being groomed to take over Marvel Studios, as I already said. And this is a big moment in Kevin Feige's career. He's overseen 4 phases at the MCU. The reason there's phases is because of Kevin Feige. He's a genius. He knows how to communicate with the audience and the consumer. He knows how to deal with these studio execs who don't know anything. He's perfect. And as I say, he's in a moment in his career where he can stay and stagnate and continue to deliver the MCU, and it will keep on making money because of the brand loyalty and recognition, or he can take a new opportunity. Now, of course, it would have to be right. He would need full control. Now, for those of you saying, we don't want this, we want Restore the Snyderverse, we want this, we want that, it's about the business. Kevin Feige would make WB Discovery and a brand new created DC Studios billions and billions of dollars. If it's possible for him to take the reins, then it's going to happen. Watch this space to find out more. But I think it's a possibility, and I wouldn't be totally against it. Batgirl movie directors give production update on new DCEU project. Batgirl movie directors Adi El Arbi and Bilal Fallah give a production update on the new DC Extended Universe project and its unknown release. We briefly touched on this on yesterday's DCEU Daily, but I want to take a deeper dive into it because this is something that I've been talking about for a long time. Again, you lot not believing I know stuff, not believing what I'm saying, but it's here in black and white right now by Grant Hermans of Screen Rant. With nearly half a year gone, Batgirl movie directors Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah are offering some insight to how production is going on the film. El Arbi and Fallah have enjoyed a steady rise to stardom in recent years since being at the helm of Bad Boys for Life, having also led the directing team and executive produced Disney Plus's upcoming Miss Marvel series. The filmmaking duo directing Batgirl on a script from Birds of Prey and The Flash writer Christina Hodson. What could possibly go wrong? Though exact plot details are still unknown, Batgirl is expected to serve as an origin story for Barbara Gordon, daughter of Gotham City Police Commissioner Jim Gordon in the DC Extended Universe, as she goes from being an aspiring officer to the titular heroine. Leslie Grace is leading the cast as Barbara, alongside J.K. Simmons returning as Jim Gordon, Michael Keaton returning as Batman Bruce Wayne, Brendan Fraser as the villainous Firefly, Ivory Aquino, Jacob Scipio, Rebecca Front, Corey Johnson and Ethan Kay. With Batgirl having wrapped filming in March, audiences are eager to learn when the film will arrive. Maybe never. Though it sounds as if the filmmakers behind the project don't even know. How embarrassing is this for them? Because, you know, they went to one of them at least went to the Cannes Film Festival and brought in a Batmobile, right? So to do that, it's like, you must be confident that this film's going okay, right? But to me, it's more Toby Emmerich propaganda to hide the problems within this production and all the productions within the DC Extended Universe. In a recent interview with Yahoo Entertainment, directors Adi El Arbi and Bilal Fallah gave a Batgirl production update. When asked about the shuffle in the DCEU release dates and if they affected post-production on the film, the duo confirmed they've been given no notes on major changes, nor do they know of their own release. See what El Arbi said below. We don't know when Batgirl is coming out. No one told us nothing about tweaks, just to carry on. This past March saw Warner Brothers shuffle around many of its DCEU release dates, as both Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom and The Flash required further visual effects work that the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic was affecting. This rose a number of questions regarding Batgirl's release date, as it was originally set to arrive on HBO Max after The Flash, which would not only reintroduce Michael Keaton as Batman, but would also mark his transition into the DCEU, with Ben Affleck departing after the film. Given Keaton is also returning in Batgirl, with set photos also hinting at further expansions of his backstory in the time between Batman Returns and now, with a mural depicting his Batman and an indeterminate Robin. The Flash's delayed release has potentially created a major plot hole. Yeah, and this is the problem. They released the Flash for they delayed the Flash for obvious reasons. This put Batgirl in trouble. But the main reason Batgirl's really in trouble is because Michael Keaton, who comes back in the Flash movie and is in the Batgirl movie, it's problematic because if they do cancel that Flash movie, and this can be the only reason they haven't announced a release date for this movie, it gives them a huge problem. That being said, with Batgirl movie directors confirming that they've received no notes from the studio to make any significant tweaks, it seems likely Warner Brothers may be considering another DCEU release date shift. Yes, that could be very realistic. The studio has reportedly already begun test screenings on The Flash, which have come back very positive and left WB feeling it could be one of their best DCEU movies. Again, I'll tell you what I said yesterday when I exposed that Variety article. When they say WB are very happy with it, they mean Toby Emmerich. Well, Toby Emmerich is an outgoing chairman of WB Pictures. He could be happy about anything. It doesn't really matter. Because all that matters is what David Zaslav is thinking right now. Potentially setting up, the DCU moves, potentially setting up the chances for film's release date to be shifted up while Batgirl is pushed back. With half of 2022 still remaining, audiences will have to keep their eyes peeled for further news on the long-awaited Batgirl movie. So it's clear if we do get this movie, it's probably not going to be this year in 2022. now for many weeks and months. I've been predicting that Batgirl is set at Christmas time and probably will be released next Christmas if we actually get it. But this is a very interesting upcoming situation, one that I've warned you about. You can follow all the other entertainment YouTubers and none of them have been talking about this but me, because I don't care about clicks, likes and follows. You can all unfollow me and I'll talk to my fucking self on these daily videos. It's fine. I'm happy to have your company, but this is no echo chamber. I tell you how I see it and how I hear it. And I've been very consistent that there's a problem with these 5 upcoming movies since all their dates changed. Now, you know, this journalist made a very good point. This may mean that they're planning to change dates again, but how is that going to work? Now, you would imagine with a trailer for Black Adam coming out next Wednesday, which is very exciting, and we will be talking about Black Adam and some new artwork, official artwork, exciting artwork for the movie very shortly. But it is very, very interesting, isn't it? What's going on with this movie? Why do we not have a release date? You know, the directors also confirmed, as far as they know, it's still being released on HBO Max. That, my friends, is unacceptable. We have new leadership and we have all these movies ready to go. But the problem is this new leadership doesn't rate this DC franchise and they want to create and start a new one. And whatever happens to Batgirl, The Flash and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, you know, we will be talking about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Some news coming in about Amber Heard's future in that movie as well. But ultimately, everything is in flux. Everything is uncertain, and anyone who's living in denial about that is going to be very, very upset when the truth comes out. You see, I can't wait till the truth comes out about the Flash movie and what's going to happen with it. I've warned you about this for several months. You're all in denial. You're going to all have to owe me a big apology when the truth is revealed. Even if Ezra Miller had never misbehaved, the Flash movie would have been in a lot of trouble because David Zaslav doesn't like it. He doesn't like Superman being vanquished in that movie. So that movie was always going to be heading kind of into trouble and maybe not even being seen as it is or never been seen again because of that reason. But the Ezra Miller situation has created a huge problem. So there are problems within the film. A well-made movie, by the way, but it has issues with some of the decisions Hamada, Jim Lee and Toby Emmerich took on it. So that film was always going to be problematic. And I said at the time when I was excited for it, I said that movie has to work because that's the one that changes everything for the DCEU. Now, in terms of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, this film doesn't have any issues within the movie. The problem is Amber Heard. And late last night, there was internet rumours, this is not official, but there was internet rumours that Amber Heard has been totally cut from Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Murphy's Multiverse has more for us. Rumour, Amber Heard's scenes in Aquaman 2 may have been cut by Joseph Albert of that site. Amber Heard and Johnny Depp's trial has been in the news for quite some time. There were many reveals regarding her role in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, as well as Depp talking about what would have been his last Pirates of the Caribbean film. Yet, as Heard didn't want out of her contract as hoped by Warner Brothers, it seems that they may have decided to delete all her scenes in the upcoming Aquaman sequel after all. The news comes from Geeks Worldwide's Casey Walsh. Now, you've got to be very, very careful of him. He's like a broken clock. He's at least right twice a day. Who shared the tidbit on his Twitter, of course. There are no details, but it does seem like they may have decided to move away from her entirely, after already minimising her role to some extent. It's unclear how they may write around her absence, but we could see some reshoots in the future if this turns out to be true. Now, this is interesting because if they do wipe her out, she's already been wiped out and she's pregnant or in hospital, would there need to be a reference to it in kind of the exterior of the movie? Can they get away with just cutting her out and just getting on with the movie? That could be a thing. Now, that would be a shame because Mira, as I've mentioned to you before, is so important to me and many DC fans. So important. But they could just wipe her out and recast her after this movie. if that's what they're going to do. But of course, if they're going to start again, then they need to cast a brand new one anyway. So it's interesting. So many uncertainties, you know, with the DCEU and what decisions Zaslav and Discovery are going to make about DC live action as well. But this was always going to happen. If they had a meeting, it's very likely in response to the trial and worries from the corporation to draw in any more negative attention. Amber Heard has been the focus of coverage for this trial, especially on social media. For now, there's no official word by Warner Brothers Discovery, which is going through quite a bit of change. So we'll see if they will even make an official announcement if this decision has truly been made. It will be interesting. It will be very, very interesting to see if she's cut from this movie. I think she will be. I always kind of said that. Once I knew she was only in under 10 minutes of the movie and we knew they were trying to get rid of her in the first place, it's obvious that they were waiting for this trial to finish. I'm quite confident if she had won and, you know, Depp didn't win, you know, the litigation, she would have kept her job. I'm quite sure. The problem is people still would have boycotted it. So they would have still had a decision to make. So they need to get rid of her. It's easy for them if they can just delete it or delete her footage without having to go back and do reshoots. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But the reality is, the Flash movie and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom may get more delays, and they may try and garnish these delays by giving us an official release date for Batgirl, which I believe will be next December. December of 2023. Very, very interesting. And so, yeah, this doesn't come, excuse me for my throat, so this doesn't come as any surprise. You know, studios are survivors. They can't, you know, they need to make money. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, the Flash movie, have cost them a lot of money. Now, the Flash movie is a bigger car crash than Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom because the issue isn't with James Wan or Jason Momoa or the rest of the cast. The issue is with one problematic actor. What's the solution? Get rid of her, and that's exactly what's going to happen. If you're Henry Cavill, you must be, or must have been, scratching your head since the Justice League movie of 2017, wondering what you've done so wrong that you haven't played Superman since 2017. You must be wondering what you've done wrong. Well, Henry, I've got some good news for you, mate. You didn't do anything wrong. You even pitched something with them with a very respectable director who's connected to Tom Cruise, of course. I can tell you it was a great pitch, but that was rejected because Henry Cavill broke the cardinal sin. No, he is not a diva like Grace Randolph said. Well, in her eyes, he is because he dared to speak out against King Toby and King Hamada because he knew this was going south. He wanted Superman to work. He knew Superman was destroyed in the Justice League movie. Henry and Ben's reputations as Batman and Superman, they turned them into fucking circus clowns in that movie. So Henry, loving Superman and wanting to keep his job as Superman, quickly came up with a pitch with the director of Mission Impossible Fallout. As I say, it was a great pitch, but they rejected it. So, new leadership, as we keep on talking about, is at Warner Brothers Discovery right now, and things are changing. And yes, David Zaslav has spoken to Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill will return. Will he return as the Superman we know and love in the Snyderverse? Or will it be a brand new Superman? It wouldn't surprise me if it's going to be a brand new Superman in a brand new universe. Henry Cavill's Superman needed for DCEU revival, says Studio Insider. Now, before I read this, let's be clear. This is a so-called Studio Insider's opinion. Like yesterday's Variety, fluff propaganda piece about the Flash movie being, loved by test audiences and they wouldn't do this and they wouldn't do that. That was the analyst's opinion. That wasn't coming from any fact. Always very important to understand that. An anonymous DC Studio Insider says Henry Cavill's Superman is needed for a DC Extended Universe revival amidst leadership changes by Grant Herman's of Screen Rant. As leadership has seen a major overhaul, an anonymous Studio Insider believes Henry Cavill's Superman is needed for a DC Extended Universe revival. Cavill made his DCEU debut as Clark Kent in Man of Steel, the Zack Snyder-helmed film that helped launch Warner Bros. Comic book franchise in 2013. He would reprise his role in for Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, and both the maligned theatrical version of Justice League and the better received Zack Snyder's Justice League that premiered on HBO Max last year. While Cavill himself has received generally positive reviews for his performances, his depiction of Superman has drawn polarized reviews from critics and audiences alike for being a darker and flawed version of the hero. In comparison to his brighter nature in the comics, as Warner Bros. Has shifted away from completely interconnected films and Cavill has become busy with the likes of the Mission Impossible franchise and the Witcher series at Netflix, Superman has largely been absent from the DCEU. That's not the reason that he's been absent from the DCEU. Toby Emmerich and Walter Hamada decided they didn't need no Superman and they went against Henry Cavill and what he wanted for the character. It's not about shifts or being busy or anything like that. Let's be absolutely clear about that. Save for a handful of name references and faceless cameos in Shazam and Peacemaker, with audiences hungry for Cavill's return, some believe it may be now or never to bring the British star back. On the heels of the Warner Media and Discovery merger, the Wrap interviewed an anonymous DC studio insider to discuss the future DCEU plans. Though unable to detail any actual plans, the anonymous source shared their thoughts on what the studio should do to recapture audience interest, namely bringing back Henry Cavill's Superman for the DCEU revival. See what the source said below. If anything, they'll go back to individual movies unless DeLuca has some plan. Again, they don't know. I don't think they're going back to individual movies. They may do. That could be successful. Just do individual superhero movie. You know, no interconnection. That could work as well. There's just a lot more money and interest and you could sell more toys by having an interconnected, well-run franchise and universe. They need to get a fucking Superman movie off the ground, and if the plan is a shared universe, a Cavill-led Superman needs to be the focal point. They should scratch every Superman project in development and start fresh with Cavill. Very interesting thoughts and opinions from this source. I agree with everything. Start again. Scratch all the Superman plans, which I think is exactly what's going to happen. Yes, the Superman of colour, J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates' idea is fucking dead because J.J. Abrams' arrangement with WB is also now dead. Zaslav has put pay to that. It's not official yet, but in the coming weeks and months, it will be, and that makes me happy. Following the Warner Bros. Discovery merger, new studio head David Zaslav has begun making a number of changes and new plans for the future, including reportedly reaching out to Joker director Todd Phillips to be a Kevin Feige-like figure for DC films. Now, again, it's very important that we talk about this, and so there's no misunderstandings out there. Todd Phillips will not be a Kevin Feige supremo of a DC connective universe. What he will be a supremo for his own DC live-action Black Label. It's what he wanted to do with Joker and after Joker. So I believe we will get the next movie after Joker, and he's going to develop a DC Black Label universe, and that's okay. He can't run a mainstream one, and that's not the suggestion that's going on here. I think they've misunderstood it. Screen Rant do misunderstand a lot of things. Zaslav has also reportedly been expressing frustration at the lack of progress on J.J. Abrams' DC projects set for HBO Max and the Clint Eastwood's Cry Macho adaptation, which received mixed reviews and flopped at the box office, was greenlit despite initial reservations about the project from higher-ups. Additionally, the studio scrapped a planned Wonder Twins movie starring KJ Apa and Isabel May over Zaslav's concerns regarding its $75 million budget. I just laugh when I hear that. We're talking about a fucking streaming movie. Anyway, given Zaslav is reportedly looking to trim $3 billion in studio costs, it would sound like a difficult sell for a Cavill-led Superman movie coming in the DCEU's future. Especially with a Black Superman movie currently in development. You see, this is when these journalists try and push their own propaganda. They want the Black Superman over Cavill returning. There's no issues here. Yes, he's trying to trim, is it 3 billion, 3 million, whatever it is, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean they're going to cut costs in the filmmaking. They will cut the movies they think won't make any money. That's how they're trimming the money. So there's no issue with Henry Cavill here. They want Cavill back. We want Henry Cavill back. And we don't want Clark Kent to be black. Not because we're a bunch of bigots and we're racist, because there's two awesome Supermen of colour in the comics which they can use. End of story. So Abrams' little SJW plans are dead. Sorry to disappoint you, Cooper, or whoever wrote this bloody article. Whoever did it, sorry mate, your SJW wishes are dead. Your heart's going to be broken because Zaslav wants to make money, unlike you. You're probably not even a DC fan anyway, let's be honest. Anyway, development outside of the DCEU, however, with Cavill frequently confirming his interest in reprising the role and reportedly having had negotiations with the studio in early 2020 to return in some capacity, the anonymous studio insider may be right in their predictions for the DCEU future. In the meantime, audiences can revisit Cavill's Superman DCEU tenure streaming on HBO Max right now. Thanks for the plug. Well, I'm sure HBO Max will be happy with the free plug unless they're paying you. Anyway, right. Imagine being a studio. First of all, getting rid of Henry Cavill as Superman, blaming him for the failure of Justice League, right? Then he tries to pitch you a beautiful idea. Henry has actually read the DC comics extensively, unlike people like Margot Robbie. This is the studio that greenlit Justice League. This is the studio that greenlit Birds of Prey and now is allowing Margot Robbie to do a feminist Barbie movie. This studio, under the leadership and tutelage of Toby Emmerich, is a fucking joke. There are a bunch of clowns, but David Zaslav is now here and he's going to fix. He's going to repair their bad decision making. The number one thing is we need a Superman. Zaslav is the boss. He wants Superman front and center. He knows Cavill's popular. This is exactly what's going to happen. So Henry Cavill will return probably as a brand new Superman leading a brand new franchise. And if that's the case, I couldn't be more excited. Justice League's Ray Fisher reacts to former WB head stepping down. Ray Fisher, who portrayed Victor Stone, aka Cyborg, in Justice League, reacts to former Warner Brothers chairman Toby Emmerich stepping down by Andy, whose surname I can never pronounce, off-screen rant. Ray Fisher, who portrayed Cyborg in Justice League, reacts to former Warner Brothers chairman Toby Emmerich stepping down. One of Warner Brothers' biggest but perhaps most controversial DC superhero films is Justice League. Based on the iconic DC team, the Justice League franchise was meant to be a significant cornerstone for the DCEU, including icons like Superman, Batman and Wonder Woman. However, the big DC ensemble instead became a controversial installment for Warner Brothers DC films. History due to behind the scenes I don't know what that word is, but basically behind the scenes controversies, which resulted in the 2017 theatrical cut. When Joss Whedon took over for director Zack Snyder, it wasn't to complete his Justice League, but rather to do significant reshoots and rewrites according to Warner Brothers demands. Not only did Whedon's theatrical cut become a critical and box office failure, but it also ignited a scandal for the studio as Whedon came under fire for toxic behaviour. One of the stars to come out against the director was Fisher. As the actor shared his painful experience with the director over the years, Fisher has opened up more about problematic players at Warner Brothers that challenged his time shooting Justice League, including former WB Pictures Group chairman Toby Emmerich. Following the Warner Brothers Discovery merger, a lot of changes are being made to the corporate structure in the film division. This includes Emmerich's future with the studio. Emmerich is officially stepping down as chairman, as Michael DeLuca and Pamela Adby will take over as co-chairs. Not long after the news broke, Fisher reacted to Emmerich's run as chairman coming to an end. As the Justice League star tweeted, hopes of never seeing the likes of Toby Emmerich again. And so say all of us, Ray. And I'll just repeat what he said. This is his Twitter post. May we never see the likes of Toby Emmerich again. Better days are surely ahead. Onwards. A and E. accountability over entertainment. Emmerich's run as chairman lasted more than 4 years, but his time with Warner Brothers won't be completely over. His departure came with the reveal that Emmerich is starting his own production company and had signed a 5-year deal with Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, this is interesting. This production company, is it just bullshit to make him, so his reputation is intact and he doesn't look like he's been sacked? Zaslav was very complimentary about him, but as I said yesterday, if you love him so much, why are you getting rid of him? Because he's fucking useless. Exactly, right? But what concerns me about this production company, will it be attached to the future DC live-action movies? That would be very problematic. I would hope to think that David Zaslav got rid of him, not to involve him more with the future of DC live-action. Let's cross our fingers. Emmerich will stay on for a transitional period before DeLuca and Adby take over for him, with several executives and key players having been left or been let go from the studio. A reported overhaul of DC TV and films indicates that even more changes are likely on their way. With Emmerich being the latest problematic WB figure that Fisher had to deal with during Justice League, another person that the Cyborg actor expressed issues over is DC Films' Walter Hamada. The DC Films president, who was accused by Fisher of having undermined the Justice League investigations, had his contract extended in 2021. That contract only runs until the end of 2023, I think. To run through 2023 exactly. Whether or not Hamada will continue as the head of DC Films after 2023 remains to be seen. He won't. He will be removed very, very quickly. Once they find a replacement for their DC studios, a president for DC studios, which they're setting up right now, he will be gone. He's done, I predict, because they probably won't sack him. They'll probably send him back to New Line Cinema. Especially given all the changes with Warner Brothers Discovery, it will also be intriguing to see if Fisher chooses to reveal more details about his Justice League experience, especially in regards to Emmerich. Yes, that would be interesting. Probably Ray Fisher and David Zaslav have already also had discussions. So, obviously I expected Ray to say something about the ousting of Emmerich. So, let me be clear where I stood and stand today with Ray Fisher. When he first came out and admitted he was lying about Joss Whedon being a great guy at San Diego Comic-Con when they were promoting Justice League, I said this was brilliant. But I was also at the time very excited for Walter Hamada's multiverse strategy and a new era of DCEU movies and TV shows. So I was very biased. And the more Ray was speaking, the more triggered I become. And I started speaking up against Ray. This got me blocked by him on Twitter. I now regret my actions. I want to apologise to Ray Fisher. You were right and I was wrong. Accountability over entertainment is something that I've been fighting for in this industry for a very long time too, Ray. And all I could focus on is my fanboying, to get these movies and to shut you up, and I was in the wrong. I now also stand by Ray Fisher, and I agree, Ray. It was very important to get rid of this toxic element at WB Pictures. He's gone now, he's got his production deal, he can no longer do any more damage to our beautiful, DC live action characters and universes. And who knows, Ray Fisher could still return as Cyborg. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Black Adam promo art reveals new look at the Justice Society of America. New promo art for Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam movie reveals new comic book style images for the DC antihero as well as the Justice Society of America by Paul Shuri of Screen Rant. New promo art shared by Dwayne Johnson for Black Adam reveals new peeks at the titular antihero and the Justice Society of America. Johnson stars as Black Adam in the upcoming DCEU superhero film, which co-stars Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, Aldis Hodge as Hawkman, Noah Centineo as Atom Smasher, Quintessa Swindell as Cyclone, and Sarah Shahi as Isis. The film is directed by Johnson's Jungle Cruise helmer, Jaime Collet-Serra, who is currently working on reshoots as the October 21st, 2022 debut draws close. Right, The reshoots are done now. It was about a 2-week shoot. They weren't reshoots. They were just pickups, to be clear. Something else the Screen Rant, again, have got wrong. Black Adam will feature the first big screen appearance of the Justice Society of America, who originated all the way back in DC's All-Star Comics 3 in 1941. The team roster has shifted dramatically over the years, with Black Adam acting as both a threat and a teammate at different points. Hawkman and Dr. Fate have appeared in live action a number of times for TV, including episodes of Smallville. Wow, Dr. Fate and Hawkman in Smallville were done so well. Credit to Jeff Johns for that. Arrow, Stargirl, Legends of Tomorrow and Constantine, but this will be their first feature appearance and the first live action appearances for Atom Smasher and Cyclone and Isis. So very exciting. Johnson has now shared a new look at the JSA in a batch of comic book inspired images that feature the famed superhero team alongside the titular Black Adam, once again promoting the upcoming trailer release on June 8th, and the images show the comic accurate depictions of each character, as well as the big screen variations that slightly differ. It's also to note that Black Adam is shown with a cape, which suggests that he will have one for the film. Even though he hasn't really been seen with one in the promo trailers thus far, it's likely that Black Adam will take a cue from Man of Steel in that way, going for an all-digital cape, which allows the filmmakers greater control over its look. Check out the images below to get a closer look. And something else that's better about a digitally, put in cape, a CGI cape, the actors don't have to walk around with a cape, which is very problematic. So let's look at these images. Right, let's go. So we go over to Dwayne's Twitter. So this is the first one. So this is really cool. Some really exciting artwork, I must say. This looks absolutely brilliant. The Rock is in the center with the rest of the JSA, and it looks really, really cool. Then we have them here. This is another style, but again, it looks really, really cool, and I really, really like this. I hope you've got a clear view of it. I'm afraid this is as far as my technology goes here at Movies TV Mad, but it looks amazing. And then we have one of the Rock as Black Adam himself. And doesn't this look really, really cool? We are building up to this trailer on Wednesday, June the 8th, and I'm so excited. I hope we get an extensive 3-minute trailer and we get a good look at this movie. To date, no images have been seen of Sharky's Isis, or the villain of the film. Sabak believed to be portrayed by Yuli Latukafu, who also plays a younger version of Johnson on the sitcom Young Rock, so that makes sense. Past members of the JSA include the likes of Green Lantern, Sandman, The Flash, Power Girl, Owlman, and a multitude of others. So it's entirely possible that other heroes or villains could make a surprise appearance in the film. Although nothing has been suggested as of yet, the most recent iteration of the GSA as a team in live action is in the Stargirl series, as well as Legends of Tomorrow, both of which portray characters from different timelines, but none of them are expected to have anything to do with the characters who appear in Black Adam. Obviously, why would you involve Arrowverse stuff in the DC Extended Universe? Having the JSA in Black Adam creates a unique launching point for the characters that will be introduced, helping to expand the DCEU in new and exciting ways. Of course, that will depend greatly on their reception with audiences, but appearing alongside Johnson in a feature film is a strong start. There's a lot riding on Black Adam being a success, particularly Johnson's first leap into the superhero genre. It will mean a lot if the JSA connects with audiences as well, helping to steer the future of the DCEU and perhaps on the small screen on HBO Max, and continue to build up of their shared universe properties. Let me put something to you. None of us really know what direction Zaslav is going in. Is he going to create another shared universe? Is he going to make individual movies? Well, let me put this to you. What if there isn't a brand new timeline? What if there isn't a brand new universe? And what if they just do standalone movies? So if Black Adam works, we just get individual Black Adam movies, not connected to anything else. We get a bunch of other individual movies like Henry Cavill as Superman. And then you've got like Todd Phillips' Black Label, where again, he makes individual movies. So nothing connects unless you're part of that story of that character. So you can have a Black Adam 2, but you can also launch from this movie a JSA movie, a launching pad, or on HBO Max. But I do know that David Zaslav doesn't really want to corner the DCEU or DC live action in any shape or form on HBO Max. He wants to promote the theatrical model because the theatrical model has more money in it, like it or not. In terms of superheroes, you'll make more money out of the platform of theatrical rather than streaming. So I do suspect this may be the way to go. Maybe they won't be looking at a connective franchise. I don't know what he's planning. Because think about this for a minute. Black Adam is a success. So you can't tear down the DCEU, can you? Right? But if you just say, fuck the DCEU, fuck the continuity, we'll just take what works, which I hear is what he's thinking about, and we'll just make individual movies, I think that may be a winning formula. And I'm very excited about Black Adam. This is the one DCEU movie I can actually hype up. I can't wait for the trailer on Wednesday. And of course, we'll be covering it here on Movies TV Mad. Of course we are. But we are not done talking about Black Adam. Very exciting. Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam battles Hawkman in official DC movie art. New promo art for Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam movie reveals a comic-style showdown between DC anti-hero and the Justice Society of America's Hawkman by Josh Planisi of Screen Rant. Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam battles Aldis Hodges' Hawkman in official Warner Bros. DC Films art shared by The Rock himself. Johnson has been attached to the role of Tef Adam Black Adam for almost a decade and has repeatedly teased how the character will redefine the hierarchy of power in the DC Extended Universe. After reuniting with Jungle Cruise director Jaime Collet-Serra, Black Adam will mark Johnson's first foray into the superhero genre as it introduces audiences to his titular anti-hero. As an Egyptian slave who is granted godlike powers by the ancient wizard Shazam, Adam begins with decent enough intentions before becoming tormented and power-hungry. Having fought Shazam and Superman, Black Adam is one of the most powerful beings in DC lore and is typically portrayed as a villain. While the character has been reinvented throughout the years, in the upcoming film is poised to adopt the darker side of his mythology. It will also introduce a slew of other DC characters for Black Adam to either combat or team up with, specifically the Justice Society of America, which includes Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, Noah Centinio's Atom Smasher, Quintessa Swindell, Cyclone Hodges Hawkman. Johnson recently took to social media to share Black Adam promotional art ahead of the film's official trailer on June the 8th. In addition to showcasing the JSA, one of the images shows his character flying directly at Hawkman, indicating the two characters will fight in the DC movie. Check it out below. So this is really, really awesome. Let's take a look at this. So we go back to Twitter and we look at it. Look at this. This is beautiful, people. This is absolutely fantastic. Take a look at that. That is them fighting. Black Adam and Hawkman. This is going to be so cool. Some of us didn't know if they're going to be friends straight away, which wouldn't make sense narratively, but they're all obviously going to have to fight. In the end, I think they'll unite to have a kind of uncomfortable friendship to fight whatever they're going to have to fight in this movie. But this artwork, this official artwork from Warner Brothers looks great. And you know what? This kind of thing makes me feel sad for the future of Walter Hamada, because he did have a plan, an interesting plan, a multiverse strategy. Unfortunately, it's a plan built on toxicity. It's a plan, replacing, Superman with Supergirl. I think it was going to be really, really interesting. I think it would have been good. I think we're still going to see elements of that plan, whatever work stays, but Walter Hamada's days are numbered. It's a shame, it could have been great, but now we have to look at, because you can't build something great over the bones of other people. And that's what Hamada's DCEU is. It's building something on Zack Snyder's bones. And for me, that's unacceptable. Carter Hall Hawkman actor Hodge is best known for roles in TNT's Leverage, Straight Outta Compton, Hidden Figures, and One Night in Miami. Black Adam is Hodge's first role in a major superhero blockbuster, and if the above image is any indication, he's about to go toe-to-toe with Johnson in more ways than one. Hodge's character, known for his spiked mace and massive wings, is usually depicted as the reincarnation of an Egyptian god. In DC lore, Hawkman and Black Adam are old acquaintances. This is interesting. So is this the first meeting, or is this one of many meetings, and will we see a flashback to the original meeting? Interesting. They not only knew each other back in the days of ancient Egypt, but are both uncompromising and brutal. It seems safe to say that the showdown between Black Adam and Hawkman will be a highlight of the film, although fans got a brief look at Dr. Fate, Hawkman, and the JSA in the DC Movies trailer. They have yet to see these characters in high-flying action. The upcoming trailer should give general audiences a taste of Black Adam's massive scale and 960 frames per second technology. Yeah, I forgot about that. Additionally, it will build upon the hype as the film continues to undergo reshoots. It's not undergoing reshoots as far as I know, after numerous COVID-19 related delays. Right. Really excited about this movie. It's going to be amazing, and I hope it is brutal. I hope the fights are brutal. I hope Black Adam is brutal. I hope it's everything that I and you want. My God, we need a DCEU movie to get excited about. And if this movie works, it doesn't revive the chances of the DCEU, but what it does, it saves The Rock's version of Black Adam, and we can get lots of spin-offs and lots of other movies. Bring on the trailer this Wednesday. And now it's time for our final article of the day, away from the DC Extended Universe. We're talking Superman and Lois. Superman and Lois ignoring Supergirl is completely ridiculous now. The irony's not lost on me that these SJWs are upset about Superman and Lois being standalone, considering how Supergirl in its first season treated Superman. Superman and Lois' tendency to ignore Supergirl and the larger Arrowverse hit a new low recently with Clark's plan that forgot his cousin existed by Matt Morrison of Screen Rant. The problem of Superman and Lois ignoring the existence of Supergirl went from bad to worse in the Season 2 episode Lies That Bind. This is hardly surprising, as earlier episodes of the spin-off series barely seem to be set in the Arrowverse, yet Superman and Lois reached new lows when Clark faced with the need for a second Kryptonian to save the world, formulated a convoluted plan rather than call his heroic cousin for help. Apart from a cameo appearance by Arrow's John Diggle, Superman and Lois has not had any crossovers with the other series making up the Arrowverse. This was originally due to the shooting restrictions brought about by COVID-19 pandemic. No, that's the excuse they use because they don't want to use the extended universe of the Arrowverse, and I don't blame them. However, even once the restrictions were lifted, the writers of Superman and Lois did not make any knowing nods to the larger universe, with the scripts for Superman and Lois routinely acting as if Superman is the only superhero on Earth Prime. And don't you SJWs hate it, but I love it. Where are we? So, knowing nods to the larger universe with the... Right, so where are we now? Because I've lost where I am. So, about the COVID-19 pandemic. However, even once the restrictions were lifted, the writers of Superman and Lois did not make any knowing nods to the larger universe, with the scripts for Superman and Lois routinely acting as if Superman is the only superhero on Earth Prime and that there is nobody else the US Department of Defense can turn to in dealing with alien invaders or natural disasters. So, as I say, they're really triggered that Superman, a man, is front and center of this universe now, and don't they hate it? But I fucking love it. This seemed particularly egregious in the wake of the series finale of Supergirl, where Kara Zor-El helped establish a new department of extranormal operations, DEO, focused on dealing with the same threats her cousin faces in Superman and Lois. This tendency to ignore Supergirl as a potential ally achieved new heights of ridiculousness in Superman and Lois Season 2, Episode 12, Lies That Bind. Early in that episode, General Sam Lane and John Henry Irons approached Superman with the analysis of a strange energy-absorbing pendant sought by prophet-turned-parasite Ali Aston. Their findings suggest that while Superman isn't powerful enough to destroy the pendant on his own, the combined strength of two Kryptonians could get the job done. This leads Superman to approach his imprisoned half-brother, Tal-Rho, for help. This makes sense, right? Why would he go to Supergirl, right, if he can go to his own brother, who's a Kryptonian? Makes sense, right? But these triggered little SJWs can't help themselves. Which inspires a side trip to Smallville to that Tal-Rho can apologise to Lois Lane for everything he had done to hurt her in his secret identity of Morgan Edge. It's an overly elaborate plan, given Clark could have easily gone to Supergirl for help. But he's got his brother. Why would you go to Supergirl instead of your brother? He's there, right? Why not go to him? You're not making sense, mate. Clark's decision to ask Tal-Rho for help is seemingly the result of his recent trip to Bizarro World, where he encountered a version of Tal-Rho who had been a true brother to Bizarro, Superman, and worked with him to defend their planet. This Bizarro Tal-Rho helped Superman to escape back to Earth Prime with one of Ali Aston's pendants, prompting Clark to try and reach out to his half-brother and offer him a chance to prove that he has the potential to redeem himself for his past crimes. While this is characteristically noble of Clark Kent, it's also completely nonsensical. No, you're wrong, given that time is of the essence and recruiting Tal-Rho requires both convincing him to help and selling General Sam Lane and his other allies on the plan. Basically, your reasoning is bullshit anyway. The lack of connections to Supergirl and the Arrowverse continues to be Superman and Lois' biggest flaw. It's not its biggest flaw, it's its biggest strength. Thankfully, showrunner Todd Helbing has promised to address why we don't bring up Supergirl or the Flash or any other heroes before the end of the season of Superman and Lois Season 2. This would dramatically enhance the show, as while it is only natural that Superman and Lois should highlight its title characters, the series' ongoing refusal to acknowledge the existence of Supergirl has become truly ludicrous. Right, let's get into this. At the beginning of the first season of Supergirl on CBS, this is how they used Superman. Basically, you saw him, but you didn't see him. You saw the back of him, you saw his cape. You never saw an actor attached to that role. And all she used to do is talk to him via email at Catco. Now, the SJW creators and Greg Berlanti, who is a big SJW himself, but a very clever man, I do respect his abilities as a creative, although he has been creatively bankrupt many times in his career as well, said they didn't want Superman taking Supergirl's space. Right, they wanted Supergirl to be front and center, and they said it would make her look weak if Superman was there all the time. So why is that rule okay for a Supergirl show, but when it comes to a Superman show, it's okay for Supergirl to take up Superman's space? Now, they used to refer to Superman in Supergirl Season 1 sometimes as him. As Supergirl, aka Melissa Benoist, would snarl when she mentioned him, because he's a man, and this Supergirl don't need no man. So, it's alright for her, but it's not alright for him. There is no problem with them being a standalone show. This is Superman. And here's the thing, if it was up to Greg Berlanti, this would be shared, and Supergirl would be there every other fucking week. We know that. And she'd be taking his space, and it'd be all about him, and he'd be going like he was doing when we finally did see him in Supergirl Season 2. Supergirl, you don't need me. You're amazing. Oh, my wife's got to give birth. Oh, I better go to another planet. You don't need me. Or do you remember the classic after a certain crossover when Cisco repeatedly said, Kara, my favourite Kryptonian. My favourite Kryptonian. In other words, we don't need no Superman. I remember all of that. And Greg Berlanti was slapped down for it by DC. DC Comics and Warner Brothers. They said, stop making our boy into a clown. He approached them to do a Superman show. They said, no, you're going to make him into a clown. We don't want him to have anything to do with your Arrowverse. So this is how this was born. So Superman and Lois is an interesting show because it doesn't even feel or look like or act like or have the emotions of an Arrowverse show. He's wearing a different Superman costume. They don't reference anything from Arrowverse apart from Diggle. It's interesting. So when Todd Helbing says they're going to fix that, either we're going to see a cameo or he's finally going to mention Supergirl, which will give everyone boners and make everyone wet down below. And I'm really, really happy for you at the end of the day. But I think it's ridiculous. After how they treated Superman in Supergirl, I think she deserves the same treatment. Now, I love Mel Benoist as Supergirl. The show was shit. She was great. I would love to see her standing with Superman. So if it happens, I'll actually be happy. But this reporter's complaints are absolute nonsense. Wow, I have allowed this video to drone and drone on for 1 hour. I'm so sorry. So basically, when you see the beginning of this video, it will say, welcome to Saturday's edition of the DCEU Daily. By the time this uploads, you'll be on Sunday, or maybe you'll be Saturday, depending on where the world you are situated at. But this is the official Saturday's edition of the DCEU Daily. But this is going to take probably a whole 24 hours to upload because my internet's shit. It's an HD camera. It takes forever to upload. So I thank you for your patience. This has been the DCEU Daily with me, Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. And I'll see you again for Sunday's edition of the DCEU Daily. Until we see each other again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.